Hey guys, what's up? We're here for another episode of AEZ All Elite Zone Canada, episode 30. And it's great to be here. And thanks for everyone that's tuning in. Really appreciate it. And we've got a great show, another great show. A little less on the. We had eight guests last week, and right now we've got the three of us. So, what we're going to do is, as planned, to review Revolution, the AEW pay-per-view that happened last Sunday night. Last show we gave our predictions, so as we go through it, we'll see how many of us were close in our predictions. But looking forward to it, and of course, as usual, Adam, it's always a pleasure. How are you doing, sir?
Doing good. Ready to talk about the pay-per-view. Some good, some bad, some in the middle.
Sure, and that's what we want. We'll cover everything. And Mr. Hargrave, how you doing, sir? How's your week so far?
Been busy at work on my AEW YouTube and Instagram channels. We have in-depth reviews of all AEW Dynamites for the entire year live with highlights. And I've been digging into a lot of reviews on Cage Match. There's some really crazy people on there. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, check out my my channels. Some fun videos.
Great. Awesome. Well, you know what? I thought, before we dive into the pay-per-view, I really enjoyed it. I thought there was like 4 or 5 really solid matches. It's probably one of the most entertaining pay-per-views I've seen in a while, especially from AEW. I was, and the Sting and Darby match, we'll get into it, but to me, that didn't disappoint. And Ospreay and Kaneshka, I'm butchering his name again.
I think people just call him Take. Makes it easy. Take.
That's easy. Hey, not to me, that didn't disappoint. But as we get into it, Adam, if you want to start off and you can give your thoughts, and as we start with the first match.
We are starting off with the main card, which is going to be the TNT Championship match between Christian Cage and Daniel Garcia. Thoroughly enjoyed this one. I think Garcia, again, keeps showing his licks in the ring. Obviously, there was a lot of shenanigans on the outside. Kill Switch hitting a choke slam on Daniel Garcia, and then Daddy Magic coming in and trying to help out even the odds with Mama Wayne getting involved, and then obviously Nick Wayne helping, and obviously helping Daniel Garcia lose and help Christian Cage retain. So Christian Cage does retain that TNT title.
Great. And who did you pick for that match?
I actually did pick Christian Cage. So nice. My heart said so originally I had picked, I wanted Daniel Garcia to win, but storyline wise, I can see Christian Cage holding that title. So that's what I went with.
Cool. There she is. Siren, how are you? And how was your week so far?
It was good. Hi. Yeah, no, I was waiting for you guys to go live so I could drop some people in here, come visit, and then afterwards I'm going to steal them back so I can go play video games.
Perfect. Well, as we're getting into, as you probably know, we are reviewing Revolution, the pay-per-view this past Sunday, and we just started on the first match. So we kind of give your thoughts. What did you think, and what do you think of the Garcia and Cage match that started the pay-per-view?
I thought it was actually pretty awesome. I mean, again, I'm going to stick with what Adam said, and I really wanted Garcia to win, and I've been on that whole, you've been pushing him, and I really want you to, keep doing that before I lose interest in him again kick for a while. But yeah, no, all overall, it was really good. It was a great showing for both of them. So, and yeah. I mean, he technically didn't beat him by himself still, so Garcia's still awesome.
And who did you pick? What was your prediction for that one?
I don't remember. And I won't remember any of these, probably. I'm the worst person to ask for that. You asked me what I ate today, I'm I don't know, man.
Fair enough. Mr. Hargrave, how did you fare this? How did you like this match to start the pay-per-view? And what was your prediction?
For me, this was a miserable start to the pay-per-view. I was utterly disappointed by this match. And nothing for anything that the guys in the ring did. It's just the booking leading up to this. This Clearly, I think this was set up for Adam Copeland and Christian Cage. Whatever happened with Adam Copeland, whether that be real or what, I don't know. He say he's injured, or maybe it was part of the storyline. I thought we were going to get some kind of surprise here from Adam Copeland. We got nothing. We didn't pay off anything in regards to Garcia. We have literally been building Garcia for 2 fucking years. When are we going to strike the match on this guy? Not tonight. I consider that this pay-per-view started with the next match. I consider this part of like the pre-show in my mind. Like this was a non-event for me and totally fucking disappointing.
Solid.
It's I predicted. I had a feeling. I had said I didn't expect to see Adam Copeland show up. I thought they're going to keep him. I thought for sure that Christian was going.
I thought it was at work. I thought he was like I had no idea. It was so weird.
Yeah, I mean they could.
It was very like they did keep it very quiet. Like it just all of a sudden it was like, oh yeah, now it's he's not gonna be here and it's just gonna and you're like, oh,
here's Daniel.
Oh yeah, I do get that the suddenness of it for sure. Yeah.
Which I think, and I think it was a good showing, for Daniel Garcia. They're still putting him on the pay-per-view. He's still starting to get title matches. I actually love that Daddy Magic. I thought they were going to bury him, when the Jericho Appreciation Society disbanded. I thought, oh man, these guys are going to kind of fall to the wayside, but they're not. And I love the fact that they're keeping him around, which is great. I would like to see. I just don't see necessarily Daniel Garcia winning the TNT title. I see him more as the international champion, which I think it'd be as we get into it, kind of a spoiler alert. But I think that would be a great rivalry to start. If Garcia and Roderick Strong, I think, would put on some really good matches, and that's where I would like to see next instead of Daniel Garcia on the TNT. Championship. So I just don't think he's going to get it. But again, I thought it was a good showing for him. I didn't think it was as bad as you did, Mr. Hartgrave, but
Well, I'm an extreme guy. I mean, here's what became clear to me. No one is taking that belt off of Christian until Adam gets back. Adam is the guy that's going to take that belt until he's back. Christian's going to hold that belt and maybe not even do much with it.
Agreed. And I think, like I said, I also think my prediction is he's going to hold on to it until Wembley and then lose Wembley to Adam Copeland.
Yeah, it sounds right.
That's my thought there. But anyways, as we move on to the second match of the pay-per-view, Adam, who do we have?
Yeah, real quick follow up to that. He will hold on to Wembley, and it's going to be a TLC match between Adam Cole and Christian for the TNT title. So our next match, actually, I thoroughly enjoyed just because I love both these guys in the ring. We had the AEW Continental Championship match between Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson. This match, thoroughly enjoyable. Some good moments in it. Obviously, Danielson with the kicks to the head and a lot of back and forth between him and Eddie. Obviously, for this match, there's so much prestige behind it just because Eddie was looking for that respect from Bryan Danielson finally. And obviously Eddie Kingston taking that huge power bomb to Bryan Danielson to end up winning the match. And I obviously at the end there, I really liked the end because it played during the match. He finally shook his hand and he was going to raise it, but then Eddie told him to raise the other hand just because remember during the match, he was working the hand he was going to raise. He was working the arm, Bryan Danielson. So to stick with kayfabe in the match, Eddie Kingston's like, no, raise this hand so I can pretend, hey, you were working this one in the match. I want to keep selling it. So I thought that was like a little cool little like.
The word is that Eddie is actually still selling that hand.
Yeah, he really is. He's doing that.
He's doing an autograph signing right now, and he's still selling the hand.
Yeah, perfect. But yeah, no, I thought this was a great match. Honestly, this was. I agree with Mr. Hargrave that this match honestly should have started the pay-per-view.
This is the start of the show.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it should have been just because it was such a banger of a match.
If you go watch the pay-per-view now, just skip the first.
Just skip all the other matches and
forget it.
Look,
if Danny doesn't dance, I don't want to see him in a match. I'm sorry, he didn't dance. Like you can't tell me that match was good. You can't tell me that match was good.
I tried to call it out and everything, and he didn't do it for me.
No dancing.
But yeah, no, this was a good match, and my prediction was correct. I did call Eddie Kingston retaining. So
Right.
Oh yeah.
Siren, your
No,
thoughts?
I was definitely all about Kingston, and I always have been, and I always will be. I'm an underdog person, and I just think that he is absolutely phenomenal. He's awesome on the mic. He is one of those people that can just make you feel something, and not just while he's talking, but while he's wrestling, and I like that. And I don't know if you guys watch like the after stuff or anything, but there was like a little interview thing with them in the back, and like Danielson and Kingston talking, and I actually had it sent to me because I'm not a huge Danielson fan. And they're like, here, like Danielson for a moment. And I will admit, like throughout the entire thing, I was like, yeah, you should have figured that out sooner. Yeah, you should have. But by the end of it, I was still happy. And I was like, okay, well, that's not bad. So I'm okay with it. And I thought it was a solid match. And I'm very happy that Eddie retained because he freaking deserves it.
Nice. Mr. Hartgrave, your thoughts?
Yeah, overall, this match just got me wanting Eddie in the BCC. I think it would really inject some life into that faction. So I'm hoping that's where this is all headed.
Right. I agree. I like that because it was actually a proper handshake at the end.
Yeah.
So, and I did predict as well. I assumed that Eddie would win just because we all thought it's too early for him to lose. Well, even though this was going to be the second time in a row that he was going to beat Danielson. And then I also predicted too that he would be joining the BCC, which I hope he does. I think he's a good fit. He is.
Yeah. Look, Moxley and Eddie are like peanut butter and jelly. Like, we got to have it. So,
and especially, they've been actually mentioning that Eddie Kingston has been making some better lifestyle choices as well. And I feel like that was probably the only thing that was really keeping him away from the BCC in the first place. Is just like, as somebody who did the whole sober thing with your, when your friends get sober, you want to be sober to be around your sober friends. And that's, I don't know. I think it's really cool if they get together, they work together phenomenally, and seeing them both at the tippity top of their game, healthy, sober, and like head in the game together, I think it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, no, I'll agree with you there. If it was, self-sabotaging before and complaining why wasn't he getting this and why isn't that, and if he has made those changes and if those changes have led him to be in the position that he is in, then and he's actually, really living his full potential in some of those habits. Again, we're just assuming, or I'm just assuming, but no, that's great. If he can be and then maybe you're right. Maybe the guys are like, hey man, get yourself together. And
every single promo cut against him has literally been that. Every single one. And his responses have been very real responses. Like, look, guys, I have a lot that I'm going through. And, like with somebody battling addiction, dude, you got a lot going through. And I mean, I'm just saying that he looks great. Everybody's opinions of him in their promos has infinitely changed. I don't know. They've mentioned lifestyle changes. I'm hoping that it's all for the best.
I see him on social working out. He's posting
Hell
jump
yeah.
hits.
That's amazing.
He is.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Boy can lift. Yeah, he's going.
Yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoy Eddie Kingston as like a real person. Like that's what I love about him. He's just real. He's from, like, I believe he's from like the New York area. And someone like me who grew up in the suburbs of Chicago, but hanging out with a lot of Chicagoans, kind of understand like his attitude, kind of that like we don't give a damn attitude, and we're just going to be real with you whether you like it or not. And you feel that a lot in his promos, and I think that's why I thoroughly enjoy Eddie Kingston's character, and just how he is as a person and everything like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to your point, I remember when he was just, there was talk of him coming into AEW, and on YouTube I saw a few of his promos, and I remember sending it to a buddy, like almost saying like, "This is real." Like, what he's saying, I'm like, I haven't heard an intense, real, like, promo like this in a while. Like, and I was like, wow, this guy's serious, man. Like I'd actually worry if when he says he's going to kick your ass, like he really means
I don't think he knows how to wrestle. Like, he just fights.
Yeah, he really is a brawler. He's such a brawler.
People, yeah. I think all those moves are very snug, is what they would say.
Yeah, the only thing I'm getting a bit over, it's the chops.
I know. I don't. No. I'm not. No, I'm not buying any of that. No, I loved it. I especially loved it in the trios match where all three guys, FTR and Eddie, were doing the chops. Bring it on, more chops. More weird little baby chops. I love little baby chops.
Machine gun chops. Thank you very much.
Yes, whatever you want to call them. I love them.
Right.
Because you know what? You don't see it anywhere else. It's Eddie's. Okay. And I believe it comes from Japan. I think it's a Japan reference.
And cool. I mean, I'm sorry, everybody. You can see what it happens there.
Yeah. You don't think it's real? Let Eddie do it to you.
I would sign a waiver and everything. I would. Come on.
No, I get it. I mean, you could get. I mean, it is really impressive that when you get that sound, the way it ricochets in the arenas. I get it. You're kind of doing it because it's. You can't hit someone as hard as that and get such a great sound without really hurting them. I mean, Danielson's probably his chest gets destroyed more than anybody's. But
he looks like a battle damaged He-Man.
Oh, it's true. It's true.
Sarah knows what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. And to follow the championship match, we have.
Probably the worst added match to a card. This is the All-Star Scramble match with the winner receiving AEW World Championship match. This one was pretty much, I think, predicted well by everybody. This was just all over the place. I do remember the one spot, I believe Jericho had a lock and Hook had a submission in at the same time. I can't remember on who. But they both had the submission in at the same. Brian Cage. Yeah, so it was on Brian Cage.
One of the big boys,
it was one of the big guys that both had their submissions in.
That double lion salt.
Yeah, that was pretty. That was a good spot. Out of that match, that was probably the best spot.
That was dope. That was the coolest thing Jericho's done all year.
Yeah, Wardlow won this one, and I had predicted Wardlow because obviously you have to give him and the rest of Undisputed Kingdom something to go with, just to make their story and their faction look stronger now going forward.
Do you think Wardlow is gonna challenge Joe on TV and take that loss on TV? I don't see that happening anytime soon. It's got to happen at a pay-per-view if it's gonna happen.
I believe it happens at Dynasty. Dynasty.
Really?
Dynasty
it's coming up fast.
Yeah, it's coming up fast. So it's April. It's the next one. So I think Dynasty is where it happens.
Wow.
Yeah, I think maybe. I mean, if you look at the color scheme, people were talking about the color scheme is kind of hinting at MJF maybe returning. It all depends on how quickly he recovers, because that surgery does take a while on the hip to recover from.
But he can come and stand and talk at people.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could. I mean, I think they were talking about maybe surgery. I think he did go into surgery and like right after World's End. I think he had to have the surgery. I don't know if he's taking it like just time where he's just letting it relax, because if it's that serious, you do need surgery on it.
Yeah, that's crazy. I just kind of thought how do you guys feel? I mean, was it Magnum or who was the guy in there? I guess it was Trump. Like
Magnus.
Magnus. I mean, the pay-per-view should be really for the guys who've been there. And then be like,
I don't know what the fuck was going on with that match. It was such a goddamn mess.
Like, here you go. And I just almost felt like it was a big crowd. It was a big pay-per-view. Let's get everyone on there. Let's find a way to get Jericho into the pay-per-view. Let's find some of these guys. I said
fuck Sammy, because he got his ass suspended though.
I heard.
Man, okay, but no, the best part about that whole like crazy scramble match was when they literally had what could have been the Meat and Madness match wrestlers in the ring. There was like the 4 big guys in the ring and they did their thing, and then they had like the 4 littler guys in the ring and they did their thing, and you're like, this could have been Meat Madness. You didn't have to like change it to this weird ass scramble. You could have just had big man meat slapping.
I think what was alluded to by Miro is that he was going to be like a surprise there, and Tony didn't know that he was injured, so that's why I have no idea. This is such a weird match. I have no idea what he's going. But I think Miro is going to be part of that. He's the meat man.
That makes sense.
I don't know.
That makes sense.
But yeah, that he had a blowout, and then everyone told him to shut up. This is Sting's retirement pay-per-view, and he was like, "No, it's all good. Everybody have fun."
Aww.
Yeah, and Keith Lee apparently wasn't available, or Miro, like not available. How are you not available for a pay-per-view?
I don't know.
Right? So no, you hear little things. You're right, though. You never really know what's true, what's not true, and what's made up. So we can always speculate, till the cows come home on that. I thought personally the match seemed to be one of those ones like, hey, let's give us guys the big pay-per-view, big crowd. Let's showcase our guys, get as many of our guys on this pay-per-view as you can, and do something different, a little bit of a sideshow, kind of a circus act for entertainment purposes. And AEW is pretty good at doing that, just kind of throwing things out there and like just for entertainment's sake, as opposed to following a story. But so I kind of get it. And just like you guys were saying, we knew Wardlow was going to come out on top, whatever match it was, and he needed to. So, and he did. So, and then from there,
I think the reason that they didn't do this, Johnny, is the ladders may have taken away from the massive spots in the final match.
Yes, agreed.
That's probably why they didn't do the Face of the Revolution ladder match this time, because there were some like deadly ladder spots that were really cool. I've already seen ladders. I don't know. Maybe that's just.
No, and I kind of hinted it in our group chat that this match alone basically replaced the Face of the Revolution ladder match, basically this scramble.
And
match.
you would just have a repeat, like having Wardlow do that again would feel kind of lame.
Yeah.
He's the face again.
Well, bam!
And it won't go anywhere again.
And again, yeah.
He's not going to beat Joe at that pay-per-view, is he? That's not real, is it?
I hope not, but I don't know.
I mean, they'd have to cheat. They'd have to cheat a lot, which is fine. I mean, they might. That sounds right.
I was just going to say.
Just cheat a lot.
Really on brand.
Yeah. I mean, the Kingdom really should be cheating more. I don't know I guess, is that the next match? We should talk about the next match.
The next match is the international title match between Roderick Strong, Orange Cassidy. This match, holy cow, did Orange Cassidy's back take a beating in this match. Roderick Strong basically lived up to his hype of breaking backs. And this match alone showed it. The spot on the top rope where he just dropped Orange Cassidy on the top rope was just brutal. And just the numerous backbreakers he gave Orange Cassidy. Now, regardless of how quick this match was, I mean, it was only 12 minutes, 45 seconds, but my God, did it have a lot of crazy spots. And obviously, Roderick Strong is your new international champion. And post-match, the return of Kyle O'Reilly returns to AEW after neck surgery. After missing, I believe it's been 9 months, about 9 or 10 months, he had to get neck fusion surgery. He's back. He looks like he hasn't gotten sleep in a week, and he grew his hair out like a maniac. So it looks like he also looked like he just came from the gym.
Hair, bro?
Yeah. but this, I mean, it was great. It kind of teased, and a lot of us want to know, after giving the shirt back, what did Kyle O'Reilly whisper into Roderick's ear? So the whole thing was just very intriguing. I think this is a good development to see where you go with both Undisputed Kingdom and with Kyle O'Reilly, with history with both Adam Cole and Kyle and Bob. Oh my God, Roderick Strong, and obviously Matt Taven and those guys too. So.
Was Kyle O'Reilly part of the group originally with those other two members?
Yes,
he was with. Yes, he was. He was also him and Bobby Fish teamed a lot as Red Dragon. And then obviously in WWE they were Undisputed era. So yeah, there's a lot of history amongst all.
It goes back to Ring of Honor all the way,
and
back
it's the Ring of Honor as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and then to NXT, and then it's carried over, and it had some history in AEW too.
Yep.
So
the stuff in NXT was probably the most legendary. Like Adam Cole versus O'Reilly, some crazy stuff in NXT.
See, I wasn't very excited. When I realized that it was Kyle O'Reilly, I was like, "Aw!" And then when he handed the shirt back and peaced out, I was like, "Oh." And so like he officially had me intrigued at that point. Because like I'm not the most massive Kyle O'Reilly fan. I kind of found him to be like the more boring one out of that whole little group. But when he came back and was like, all, you know, I don't want any part of that intrigues me. I'm excited to see what he's gonna do and where he's gonna go. Is he gonna be a singles guy? Is he gonna go into a different faction or do something else? I don't know, and that is awesome.
Mr. Hargrave, your thoughts?
Yo, so yeah, this was crazy that Roderick Strong beat Orange Cassidy clean. I did not see that coming. I was saying, like, the Kingdom should be cheating more. Like, I don't know why they're not being more evil and healers. They are literally supposed to be the devils, yet they don't do a whole lot of cheating to win. So that was crazy. I did not expect Roderick Strong to come out of this just with a clean victory, no interference. I was like, that's pretty wild. And then the O'Reilly thing. Boy, looking unhinged. He comes in, he wants to fight everybody, looking mean, right? And then he starts crying, hugging everybody. Then they hand him the shirt. Then he's like, no, I can't do this. And he weeps and leaves and looks all sad. I'm like, dude looks unstable. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on there. But you know what? Any kind of emotion coming out of O'Reilly is good because, like, his last run in AEW, you're right, Siren. Like, he was like, barely anything. He was very vanilla. So I like this new, very emotional, perhaps unhinged, maybe bipolar O'Reilly, and I'm excited to see what goes on.
Yeah, to your point, guys. I thought he was really animated in NXT.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, his NXT run was cool.
The way he takes bumps, I love his way he flies in the ropes and does that, comes back to the ropes. He does some really cool stuff. Actually, I liked his hair. For some reason, I thought it looked good grown out in the beard. I thought he looked like he's like I said. I think it was Adam. He said he looked like he just came from the gym. Like he looked. I mean, these guys when they're off for like 9-10 months, I know they're recovering from injuries, but you know they're just in the gym because that's all they can do is eat and sleep and work out and just get back into shape, right? So I mean, all these guys come back and he looks jacked, and I'm not surprised. You know what? I think Roderick is a good enough wrestler. And I'm glad they did a clean finish with him because he is a good wrestler and he's proven it. And he probably would want to win clean to show that he can win clean. So I like that, and I think it's good in the title change like that. I think by keep doing it clean, then you're not like if it was like again, I finished that, the guys came in, did something, and it wasn't a clean finish. I think then you'd still have to go back to Orange Cassidy for a rematch because he was screwed, miscarriage of justice. But this way, when it's clean, you can almost like say it, let him just go into the sunset. He's going to take a break, let him take a break for a while, and it's clean, right? And then you can just start on because you're kind of cleaning up those loose ends. Again, I just don't think you'll get that if you don't have a clean finish. And we'll see what happens. Interesting to see where this is going to go. Really interested to see what Kyle O'Reilly, what his angle is on it.
I just don't get we're a bunch of badasses, but we totally play by the rules angle.
That I do agree. They are supposed to be healing.
Like, what's up with that? We are badasses. We do what we want perfectly within the boundaries of the rules.
Yeah. True, but I kind of like when guys are badass. I like the BCC. They're badass, and they usually clean, right? They're just badass, and they just beat you up so badly that you either submit or pass out. So I kind of like that from a badass perspective as well, because you can still beat everybody up. So, but anyways, so with that, Adam,
next match.
Yeah, we move into the tag match of the Blackpool Combat Club, John Moxley and Claudio, against FTR. Beginning of the match was crazy because Blackpool Combat Club comes out wearing the shoulder pads like their Legion of Doom 2024, which was kind of cool. But this match was really good. There was a lot of good all four men have great chemistry in the ring together. I don't know why. But I believe it's just back and forth, but Dax Hardwood obviously taking some bumps. He ended up bleeding and not John Moxley. That's the craziest part about this match. I will say I am a little upset that FTR did not win. The only reason I say this is this. Blackpool Combat Club, one person in particular, John Moxley. I have nothing against John Moxley, but the fact that he keeps getting wins, whether they're in singles or in tag matches, the guy doesn't have to win all the time. I would have liked to see FTR win to kind of like get back in a sense of rhythm. Because I don't know I don't even think they won that that trios match with Eddie Kingston. They lose that one, didn't they? Against Blackpool Combat Club. I can't remember.
Yeah, they lost. Brian Danielson choked out Eddie.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously it hurts. It's like, listen, we don't have to keep giving Blackpool Combat Club these wins. We can get some other wins here. FTR really needed a win back because even on singles, they haven't been doing well in wins doing single matches. So I don't know if it's because their contract's coming up and they're just putting guys over just as a favor on their way out or something like that. But I still would have liked to see FTR win. But I'm interested to see where they go now. Obviously, I like to see where Wheeler Yuta is because I've not seen that man.
I believe he's injured. I believe
is he injured?
They mentioned on commentary that he's injured. Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, no, but
he's been nowhere though. First Rampage of the year, and then nothing, right? Something like that.
Oh, yeah. So I mean, once he comes back, I mean, obviously, we'll see where the group is. Obviously, this might be the last year. This is probably the last year of Bryan Danielson wrestling. Ooh. So, but yeah, and then obviously, I'd like to see where FTR goes from here with this loss. I mean, I don't know where you go from here. Do you put them in that tournament for the tag titles? Spoilers ahead. So I'm interested to see where they go.
All right. Siren?
I mean, I was a big fan of the match. I like seeing FTR and Blackpool Combat Club together. I do feel like they have great chemistry. It seems like they put on a match that's a little bit different than what you normally get out of Blackpool Combat Club. And like a lot of the tag spots that they do are really cool. And like with both of them involved, it was nice. It was a great match. For me with FTR lately, because they had that whole thing with House of Black and whatnot recently. And then you're right, they have been kind of losing a little bit more often. I don't know. I don't really know what they're doing with them. They had been mentioning that they were like on the trios like thing with Garcia, and I'm like, so is that going to be a thing? Like, what are we doing? So yeah, I mean, maybe if they would have won, it would have gave them a little bit more direction. But right now, you're right, they're just kind of a little directionless. And I agree with that. So I don't know. Good match, but story wise, I'm not sure what they're doing.
True, Mr. Hurtgrave.
Yeah, so FTR and BCC, I could watch these guys have matches all day. I love the build up to this. I love the match at the pay-per-view. And you can guarantee both of these teams are going to be in the tournament coming up for the tag belts. And that's really exciting to have Jon Moxley and Claudio as a team in that tag team. And here's the thing with Jon Moxley. He don't lose a lot. He does not lose a lot. And there's a reason for that. He's like the highest paid guy on the roster, and he is protected. He's always been protected. So if you beat Jon Moxley, it means something. And if he loses too often, you lose that card to play. And you kind of need a guy like that. You kind of need a protected guy in the roster where if you beat him, it means you're the real deal. You are.
Like Jericho used to be that guy.
What was that?
Jericho used to be kind of like that guy. He was like a stone. Yeah. And then you're right though, people they use it too. Yeah, but they started to use it a little bit too often, I feel. Yep. With Jericho, and they have let up on it quite a bit because he's
taking more losses. Yeah, Powerhouse Hobbs just crushed Jericho.
Oh my god, that was funny though.
Destroyed him. I mean, it was something else. So I don't think anyone's going to be doing that to Jon Moxley though. He's definitely more protected than Jericho at this point. But Jon Moxley, I mean, we're going to see him back in the world title scene after this. I would suspect that they do not win the belts, but I wouldn't be surprised if BCC holds the tag belts, and then whoever is the real, the long-term tag champion will beat them, and then it will mean something.
I can see that. I'm excited for the tournament, though, either way.
I did like when the BCC, the guys came out wearing the Road Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
I like
that.
They
did not get, I would not say they got a Road Warrior pop, though.
No, because nobody can be the Road Warrior.
Right? So, the Road Warrior popped something else. They didn't quite get it.
Oh, yeah. But you know what? I did like it because it was almost more of a show of respect to the Greensboro, to the city and the arena. Throwback to those days, which I thought that was a great sign of respect, which was great. Hard-hitting match. These guys all seem to be cut from the same cloth, kind of like what you're saying. They all get along. You know it's going to be a great match. I think I predicted that I thought FTR might have pulled this one out because we were talking about that they really needed the win. So I was really hoping that would have happened. But yeah, I am kind of over John Moxley winning.
I love John.
You gotta
Moxley.
have. You can't just drop him. If you drop John, if John Moxley starts losing too much, who you got? Who's your guy? Everybody else have a pretty normal record, so you got to have like this, like kind of end boss kind of character.
You're right, because everyone else is taking losses. I mean, you've got Brian.
Even Samoa Joe has like some recent losses. I mean, he's pretty strong. But he's got some losses.
Joe's a beast.
And Danielson has losses as well. So a lot of these guys have losses. You're right, and of course Jericho. He's all about the losses as well these days. Put back over. But you know what? Great match. I didn't know that FTR. I didn't know their contract was coming up soon.
Is that what's going on?
They had signed an extension. I don't know if it was towards the end of this year, towards 2024, but I know they were about to be up, and then they re-signed for short term. That's what I read, is that they re-signed for short term. So I think it's at the end of this year.
Can you imagine the pop they'll get if they go back to the E? Those guys will be gigantic in the WWE.
I mean, honestly, I could see Dax, like, because of how much he talks about his family and how much he does what he does for the family. I wouldn't be surprised if he does take some time off to spend time with his kids.
Sure. If these guys return to the WWE, that'd be big. They may take a good long time off, show up at a WrestleMania, pop the arena.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think they're fit. Like as soon as when they came into AEW, I just felt they felt like AEW. That style, what they were letting them do. Because you could see near the end, you remember some of the crap that they had them doing.
Cody literally was AEW.
You're not wrong.
Literally was. So it's
kind of guy. He's all about. So I don't know. I just feel FTR is different. I thought they had a great run. I thought they were great in NXT. They were actually the best in NXT. Yeah. I saw them in Toronto with when they lost the belts to DIY, which was a phenomenal match. Yeah. I think that was up for one of the matches of the year in NXT at the time. That to me, I loved NXT at that point. And to me, NXT kind of felt like AEW back then.
Oh, there's a lot. Yes, right. There's a lot of NXT DNA in AEW. You can see it. If you go back and watch it, you'll be like, "Oh, that's AEW right there."
Yeah, which I love, and and I just can't get into say. I know I'm digressing, but NXT is not the same NXT as when.
No.
I loved NXT was amazing back then.
Yeah. NXT literally was AEW with those takeovers.
I agree.
The way Triple H would come out and talk, he'd be like, "This is for you guys because you wanted real wrestling and you're tired of our bull crap."
Yeah, and the fans and the NXT crowd, it was so into it. Which is you're right. I think it was perfect. NXT was holding that spot for AEW. Everyone was loving that type of wrestling because a lot of these guys came over from the indies, so there's the great infusion. I just don't care. I just can't. I have a hard time watching NXT these days. It just feels so fluffy, and I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some really good guys. There's some really good wrestlers in there, but I just can't get behind some of the storylines. Not like I used to. With some of the talent there. But again, that could be a whole other show we can talk about.
Those takeovers are good, though. If you want to go rewatch some good wrestling, the takeover, just every single takeover was awesome.
I agree. It was I think when I went to see that takeover was one of the best live wrestling events I had been to in terms of just because the crowd was so into it. It was just fun, really fun. And you don't even have to be a fan. You know what? You know when wrestling's good when you can go and you can take, say, a friend who hasn't watched it in a while, but the wrestling is just so good and the storytelling in the ring is so good that you don't even need the backstory. You just are entertained of what's happening. And
it helps too because the television product at the time was dog shit. So like the takeovers, you just watch those. You don't have to watch anything in between.
True. Yeah.
Held up on their own.
I think they were great.
The TV was still WWE TV. It was bad, but the takeovers were good.
That's true. Adam, sir?
Yes, we finally get to our women's match, the AEW women's title on the line with Timeless Toni Storm taking on the virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo. Match was really great. I think both women shined really well in the match. Timeless Tony Storm portrayed her character very well with the taunting, with the boots to the face, with the whole I'm bad, you're garbage, we're not friends anymore, blah blah blah. Obviously, I love the beginning of Mariah May coming out to the old Tony Storm look. That was really cool. And in the end, Tony Storm retains the title. All around a good match. I still would have liked just that little oomph at the end there, like almost like what we saw with Kyle O'Reilly come back. I would have liked to see like a Britt Baker return,
Jamie Hayter,
or Jamie Hayter return. Like I would have liked to see another woman come out like that, like a Britt Baker or Jamie Hayter coming out.
I guess you're not gonna pop. You're not gonna pop Mercedes early, but everybody knows it's coming. So
but just to have that, to build that until Mercedes comes over, where you got this whole thing like, I'm coming for your title. No, I'm coming for your title. Then boom, Mercedes is here. But overall,
everyone comes out of the locker room and stares her down kind of situation.
But overall, it was a good match. Timeless Tony Storm gets better and better every week. Love the character. Obviously, everything this is building up. I think at the point when Tony Storm loses the title, her and Mariah may have a little thing because they're kind of planting the seeds for that. But overall, it was a good match, and I did call Timeless Tony Storm retaining. So,
right.
I 100% thought that bitch was Tony Storm.
Yeah. Right. I totally did as well.
I was like, damn. Well, that sucks.
Dude, I'll tell you what. I was straight pissed off when she came out. I was like, God damn it! She went back to the old gimmick. That's the last thing I want.
Right? I was like, oh, that sucks. And then I was like, oh wait, that's Mariah.
They done me dirty. Wait, man, they got me.
He looked identical when she came out.
Oh man, like it was freakish.
Really looked like her.
I was like, yeah, no, but it was really good. It was a great match. I loved it. I liked that they redid the spot, obviously, like where Luther catches her and like puts her back. I think that's great. I always think that's great. But yeah, it was really good, and I'm glad that Tony retained, just because I really do hope that Jamie Hayter comes back and takes that. I think it would be great. But yeah, good match.
Mr. Hartgrave.
I'm not going to get into it too much here because I have a really good, like, well-produced review of this on my channel where, like, I put clips of the match in and stuff and read reviews. But one thing I did not talk about was how I love this little part of Tony Storm's character. I don't know if you guys noticed, but she only acknowledges Mariah May when she is dressed as Tony Storm, and you know that that's a wrinkle in the character. You know that that's going forward, and I just love that little character aspect that she did not acknowledge Mariah May until she looks like Tony Storm, and then she's like caressing her face, and now she's totally being acknowledged. So now Mariah May has to dress as Tony Storm to get Tony Storm's attention. If they don't do that, they have totally fucked up an angle, but I assume that is intentional on where we're going.
That would be beautiful.
That's a good point. And I noticed it, but I didn't really think of it in terms of.
Yeah, only we'll pay attention to her if she's dressed as Tony Storm. Other than that, she's like, who is this?
Yeah, so it's kind of like looking in the mirror, like of myself, version of myself. Oh. And because you're to point, then I noticed at the end I was watching her face because she was like, Tony gave her the belt. The hold, and you could see Mariah May, like the way she's looking at.
She was acknowledged. She noticed that she was being acknowledged. There was some acting. There was some storytelling. That was awesome.
Yeah. Very well done.
So, I hope they don't blow it up too soon. I want to see this kind of continue and see where it goes. I hope they don't want to ruin it. But again, I still think that Tony Storm's going to hold the title to Wembley. I'm still going with that one because I think it's going to set up for a great match. Whoever it's going to be, I think it's going to be a triple threat. Or a four-way, whatever it's going to be.
It's got to be Jamie. I think Tony's pretty stubborn with his plans. It was going to be Jamie before. I mean, they literally made Jamie Hayter like all in action figures. It's so tragic. And they were selling them at the show.
Really?
They were planning her. Yeah, they were planning her return. They planned it months and months in advance. Yeah. She was winning that belt at All In, yeah.
I always feel so bad for when wrestlers, when there's such a big thing coming up and they get like a random injury, and they can't perform at something like that. Can you imagine your plan is for you to be in the spotlight of a main match in the Wembley Stadium, and somehow you get hurt. Like, that's got to be probably the most devastating things to ever experience. Because then you think, my God, am I ever going to get back? That I just is
You
that
see,
my
I think that's why Tony does that stuff. Like, he knows, and he's gonna fix it.
Mhm.
I hope so. But
So-
no,
so-
I thought it was an entertaining match. I picked Tony to win. I love Luther. I hope the character Luther is there. I like this little group that they created.
That's wild. You know that nobody on the planet wanted Luther anywhere until this.
Yes,
I love
Everybody
Luther.
hated it.
Whoa.
Hated it. Okay.
No.
All right. We had a Luther fan.
I have an autographed Luther Spectrum card. Thank you very much.
All right. We
Yeah.
have the one Luther fan on the entire planet. That's awesome. I mean, I like Luther too. I like everything.
I didn't even know that he was,
the trash talk on Luther was real up until now.
true, but I actually was surprised that he was still being paid and still in the card,
That's
like he was on
great.
the roster.
I think
I
he
mean-
produces a lot of matches. I think historically he's produced quite a few matches.
Has he? Oh, good.
Yeah, he's
Because
a
I was
match
wondering
producer.
about a guy like that. But yeah, I love that they found a spot for him, and I think
Yeah.
it's perfect. So,
Really good.
so anyways, I like this little duo. I hope they keep this going. I wasn't sure if I was going to expect, if I didn't think anyone was going to run out. Where is Britt? Is Britt hurt or is she recovering?
She has been injured, but I have no idea if it's recovered yet. I don't know, but she's very active on social media asking when her time is to come back. You know, maybe they don't have anything ready for her. They don't know where to put her.
She stated on social media that I don't know what the deal is, but I think she's alluded to people were like saying that they were burnt out on her. And so she's like, fine, I'll let these other ladies take the forefront and I will stay home a little bit and you guys can wait for me.
Oh, well, I want you back. Come back.
That's what I caught.
Like-
That's what I caught.
I think it'd be great if she was going to make a comeback, if she came back with Jamie Hayter.
I mean, she might be taking care of Adam Cole. I mean, you know, he probably needs
But
some help.
he's there. Why does he get to be pushed around and be on TV?
I don't think he needs to be taken care of anymore. He's good.
Prediction.
March. You're like Tony Schiavone over here. Fuck Adam Cole.
Prediction on this: March 13th in Boston.
Yeah.
Everyone wants Mercedes Moné to come out. What if before she even comes out, they said
Tease.
Britt Baker comes out instead, and everyone's like, "Oh, we thought Moné was going to come out."
We kind of just did that with Mariah May and Deanna.
We
I don't know.
did, but
Oh, we
almost. Well, honestly, we didn't. We didn't actually, because we had Deanna come. Mariah May have her first match, then you had Deanna debut. What if they're like, hey, like we have someone backstage that we haven't seen in a very long time, and everything like that, and they thought they're going to introduce someone like Mercedes, and out comes Britt Baker, and before Baker speaks, Mercedes Moné comes out. Then you have that Baker versus Moné
there it is,
face to face in the ring.
Solid.
I mean, it's a good. It would be a good
start
start
for Moné.
It would be a good start.
Puts a chip on Britt's shoulder right away too. Like, who's
Yes.
this?
Exactly. Gives her
Yeah.
something.
Yes.
I like it.
If you it's basically Britt saying, if you want to earn respect here in AEW, you've got to go through me because I was the first woman signed to this company. So you got
dominant champion too. Britt was like the original dominant champion, right?
Yeah.
Nobody beat Britt.
I love Britt still to this day. She is still like the only person that I ever wanted to beat Britt Baker was Jamie Hayter. Like that was it.
I would like to see. I mean, I think it'd be great if Jamie Hayter. I always thought Britt and Jamie were a great tag team, and I still think if they would make a great tag team for whenever we actually do see these belts, which has to happen. Where are these women's tag belts? I think those guys would come back and be a great tag team to throw in the mix. I always thought they would have been because they were great. I thought they were a really good tag team.
I agree, Devin.
When they were together.
Yep.
So we'll see. Thanks for all the comments that are coming in, and you guys online here have some good points. So keep sharing and throwing your comments in. So thanks very much for that.
And I totally do agree, Devin.
I do too, Devin. Yep.
So
their next match, was one we were all hyping up, and it actually didn't disappoint. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It is Will Ospreay versus Konosuke Takeshita. this match lived up. I enjoyed it. Very technical. A lot of good spots. The spot, again, it seemed like the night of Revolution was the night of backs, because Ospreay's back just got, got that one spot with the turnbuckle. And if you watch the media scrum, Ospreay actually showed off the bruise from that spot at the media scrum, and it was bad. It was gnarly. It was bruised. It was just marked up. But man, did he put on a match, and the sign of respect both men gave. I don't know where they're going with that. It's everybody was booing Don Callis as he was there, but they were cheering both Takeshita and Ospreay after the match. I'm like, you got two guys there that just showed respect to each other, and the crowd cheered both of them. I don't know if you noticed that, and you maybe want to take him away from the Don Callis family and start pushing them solo and having them be fan favorites, because they both
Ospreay don't need that. Ospreay don't need that family.
And I was actually about to say that. I don't think Ospreay needs that at all. No. He's his own guy, bruv. Sorry, bruv. He's his own guy. But man, it was great at the media scrum too when Ospreay's like, it sucks moving forward because now I have to watch my language more, because he just swears. So now he's saying going forward, I have to watch my language more. But I did call Ospreay winning. Again, you're not going to lose your debut match signed full time now. But I think it was the right match to start off. And honestly, it was one of my top two matches of the night. So
Agreed. All right.
Don't worry, Ospreay. I totally feel you. Since I've joined this podcast, I really have to watch my language, because like on my content, it's just me all the time, and I don't have to worry about it. Yeah,
you and me both, Siren.
Right? Like, I'm like, so I get that. No, it was a solid match. I actually really enjoyed being able to see some stuff that I didn't get to see Takeshita do at AEW, like some more interesting spots, more intricate spots. And I don't know if it's just because he felt more comfortable with Ospreay, or if it was just like they had this like chemistry, but they really got to see Takeshita shine a little bit more, and I like that. I like that Ospreay won. He did win, right? Am I just making that up in my head?
No, he won.
Yeah,
I told you, man. Ospreay is going to be the most dominant person in AEW for like 6 years. Ospreay ain't losing to nobody. And Kyle Fletcher is going down this Wednesday. Ospreay's going to pick up his first title this week.
I'm so excited.
Is that for the Ring of Honor television title?
I guess they could pull some crap where it's not for the title. But, Ospreay's winning. I guess if Ospreay wants the title, he's going to have the title.
I mean, I think it's just non-title, but he's going to get the win against Fletcher.
Oh, he's totally going to get the win.
There's no way Fletcher wins.
No.
They're best friends, right?
Him and his naked pants. Get out of here, Fletcher, in your naked pants.
Fletcher's great and Takeshita's great. I can see both these guys wrestling everybody, but Ospreay beating everybody.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Well, and he's phenomenal on the mic. Like, I could just listen to him speak at me forever. Like, yes, sure, sir, shout at me. Like, I don't, so yeah. I thought it was really great, though. It was a solid match, and I really want them out of that family, though.
It's going to be interesting. I was wondering if they put him against Kaneshka, the fact that like he's just coming from New Japan and New Japan guy, and that the styles are just aligned well. Maybe the communication aligns really well. I thought there was some amazing choreography. It's so fast. I can't believe watching these guys that there's not more slip-ups. The way they can catch each other, move, and just like counters. It's unreal. Like I thought it was a great match. I couldn't believe watching back, because you could see Ospreay when Kaneshka dropped him on the turnbuckle. At first, as soon as you go down, you can see he points to his back to let him know, like, oh my God. And then it was like instantaneous. They kind of all of a sudden it bruised like that.
Oh yeah, so, like you could see it right away.
Which again, when you look at it, it doesn't look, because you just think it looks like his back is against the padding. But then when he goes down, something else happened, because that was bad.
It almost and I was like a scrape bruise, But
how did that happen on the turnbuckle? Because how do you hurt yourself that badly?
If with a turnbuckle, it's iffy. If you've ever looked at a turnbuckle in person, there's the padding, but there's still a little crack in between the metal and the grinding part and the padding. So even if he drops on the padding precisely, if one part, and particularly the one where he bruised down part of the back, hit that metal part in between that little gap, it's possible.
Wow.
It just looked freaking painful. Huh?
It's I'm interested to see where it goes. I kind of like that because the guys that they're becoming fan favorites, and the fact that Don Callis went in there, and the boos, right? Obviously, people are loving it. I kind of like it. It's building the story, because Osprey hasn't said either way. Like he hasn't really acknowledged being in the family. He's just kind of like, I'm here. Yeah, I guess I'm in the family. He's not really saying anything. Don says it all. So I'm interested to see where this goes, but. You're right. I think there's going to be a split. I did pick Osprey to win. I thought, which I love how this was actually a clean match, which was great. Let the guys just go at it and showcase. I had a feeling that Don was going to somehow interfere or kind of lean towards one way, but he didn't, and they kept him out until the end. So I thought that was really good. But I think for me, this was. Besides the nostalgia with the Sting and that part, the emotion, this was I thought was the best match of the night.
Yeah, and I think to take away from what you were saying there, Matt, I think why it matches well is because of the styles. It made me feel like I was watching a Wrestle Kingdom match or a G1 match, like
that's
those kind of.
Is.
Like that's what it felt like.
Pacing and everything.
It's just the pacing. It's the movesets from both guys. It's the chemistry that they have in the ring. It's also that you watch, even though that little spot with the post and with the corner and his back, there's still that aura of each guy has each other's back. They understand the ring environment and they work it. I think that's why that match just shined the way that it did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought it was perfect. I thought it was a great first match and a great way to start his full-time career now in AEW, which is great. Saying that, we're going to go to the next one, which...
Yeah, this was the triple threat match for the AEW World Title between Hangman Page, Swerve Strickland, and our champion Samoa Joe. This match, fun. Each guy got to have a minute in the ring of domination. Obviously, you had Hangman Page doing Hangman Page things of looking angry, looking like he's about to fart, just his facial expressions, but getting the better of both those guys. And then obviously, you had Swerve getting the best of both Joe and Page. And then obviously Joe being the fighting champion, trying to outduel both of those guys. A lot of close calls in this match, a lot of close finishes, a lot of close pinfalls. Obviously it ends the way of Samoa Joe choking out Hangman Page, which is what I predicted was he was going to choke out Hangman Page, and even Connor did. Now, the funny thing is where they take from this, because if you look at the ring, how far Swerve Strickland was trying to break it, you kind of sense Hangman Page was like, I'm going to tap just so Swerve doesn't win. So they play into that. They play in that story of that continuation, of like, oh wait, I'll just tap so he doesn't win. And you can see Swerve just look at Page as he's rolling out the ring like, dude, I could have stopped that and I could have won. But it's just that story. And now word around now says Page is taking time off. Now, I don't know how they're going to write him out of TV. Apparently, it's been in the works for a while that he was supposed to take some personal time off. That's why they were trying to work the ankle injury, is what I read, was because he was planning on taking time off and they didn't know if it was going to be a triple threat or a singles match. But obviously now it is known that he's probably going to take time off. I don't know how they're going to play that. Word is they're going to use it, the suspension angle, as he attacked two referees. That they're going to suspend him now for attacking two officials on the pay-per-view. Obviously you have to see where Swerve goes from here. Obviously Joe's next opponent is going to be Wardlow. Now, whether Wardlow wins that title at Dynasty or he loses it, he loses his match as Dynasty against Joe, and Swerve gets one more crack at Samoa Joe at, say, like Double or Nothing, or even all in. But I think Swerve gets one more shot at the AEW World Title at some point, and I think he does win it. Word going around is the reason why Swerve didn't win Sunday was because they didn't want to take momentum and the view away from Sting's last match. Because obviously people would be like, Swerve won a world title, the first AEW African-American world champion, blah, blah, blah. They were worried for that.
That's World's End, man. Do that at World's End.
And that's what I'm saying. But they wanted to make sure that this night was all dedicated to Sting. So obviously that's why we didn't probably see a lot of returns or surprises other than Kyle O'Reilly. But I did like this triple threat match. Yeah, I did like this triple threat match. It was probably one of the better triple threat matches for the world title. Obviously Hangman Page, I can take it or leave it. I still don't know what's going on with his character. It's still bland to me. Like, I agree with Siren. Like, it's very bland and it needs changes. That's why his feud with Swerve is probably some of his best work. But yeah, I'm glad Joe held on to this, and I did call that Samoa Joe would retain the title.
Right. Good points. Siren?
I'm so mad right now. Did any of you guys watch Collision?
No.
No? Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm going to inform you that I did not know that Hangman Adam Page was going to take time off, and now I'm pissed. Now I'm pissed off. This is so not cool. Okay, so on Collision, he cut the best promo that I have ever seen him cut in his entire career. It gave me goosebumps. I had to, I was yelling at my body. I was like, stop that. No, we don't do that for Adam Page in this house. Like, it was bad. It was so good. And then when he came out to the ring with the attitude, I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited to actually see him, and then in the sick and twisted, you can't have it. You can't have it because I'm tapping out and you lose because of me was amazing. And now he's like, oh yeah, no, he's taking time off. Fuck you. That's what I have to say. Okay. Next.
He'll be back. He'll be back.
Mr. Hargrave,
will I
follow
care
that up.
when he comes back? Will I care? No.
Yo, I love that Hangman Adam Page just whooped that ref's ass. I've never seen anything like that before. I started yelling. I jumped about my seat. It's like, yo, he's whooping that ref's ass. That's a great angle to pull a suspension angle on him, though. I think he'll be back crazier than ever. I think he's fantastic. Hangman Adam Page is the best, and he's going to be the best person to come back as soon as Swerve wins that title at World's End or whenever the hell he wins it, takes it off of Wardlow or some shit. Who knows? But yo, relive this feud when Hangman comes back, and maybe give him another title run with this insane character that he's developed.
It's the only time I would have actually been like, yeah, sure. It's literally the only time that I've ever felt any sort of warmth towards that man.
We just whooped on that ref, though.
Yes, it was so great. I was like, man, this guy's unhinged.
What are you doing, dude?
Getting suspended, so now I can't see Crazy Hangman.
Yeah, it's nothing says heel. If you're trying to make a heel, you beat up 2 refs. Nothing's going to make you more of a heel than that.
He didn't just bump him. He didn't just he beat on him.
He's wailing on him.
Has it ever had? It's had to have happened in the history of wrestling, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, not like that. Not in a long time.
No, it was crazy. It was unhinged.
So that makes total sense to what Adam was saying there. That's going to be leading it because they also mentioned in the commentary, I'm sure that's got to lead to a suspension, right? So they kind of
they're like, there's gonna be fines. Was that Bryce? Props to Bryce, dude.
I thought the way this match started with Samoa Joe just killing him at the beginning was awesome.
Oh yeah, the combo. He was simultaneously whooping their asses.
I'm so glad he went in there and was just like, okay, you guys are talking enough. Now it's my turn, and he just was killing him. It was awesome, a fast pace right off.
He did the walk away on Swerve, which is always great.
I love the walk away.
The walk away is the best.
That is
the nope, as we call it.
The nope. I love the nope.
I can't believe no one else has come up with that before like that.
It's so good.
It's genius.
He was doing it in TNA, man.
Yeah, he was. And the other guy's got to be game for it. I always give props to the other guy. The other guy's taking a face dive on the mat.
Yeah, and you know that doesn't feel good.
Sucks.
The best I've seen it when they've done like a close up on the guy's face, and he's actually like looking like, huh? Like, where are you going?
Yeah, that was
John Cruz.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's good.
that was Drew
He's good.
Cruz, aka Serpentigo, without a mask. So it was like when he did
Bro,
this,
is that
just
true?
like this.
Yeah, yes, it is, Heartgrave.
Serpentigo
Oh, I didn't know
without a
that.
mask.
That's, oh, no, I can't believe I didn't know that. That's hilarious.
I didn't know that.
Also,
either.
how is Samoa Joe's actual face? Because did anybody see that close-up pic of like that swerve kick to Samoa Joe's face from this match?
Yeah.
Oh, that looks
looked
like...
a little snug.
Oh my gosh, like his whole jaw is like,
Yeah,
oh
word.
man. I was like, oh, that's gotta hurt. Like, that's gotta hurt. I just wonder if like he's okay. Like...
I will say this. I think Joe right now is the perfect poster champ right now for AEW. Just if you watch the post media scrum, he presents himself so professionally. You know, it's just like when he's there, he's talking about, they're talking about, who's some of the guys that you look at. He came straight out. He's like, well, I don't look at that. I look at, who's the best, who can challenge me. I don't dream of these dream matches. I'm one of these guys is you have to earn it. And he's also they ask him about Sting and his respect for Sting, but the way he presents himself like that's a guy, that's a company guy, that it's someone you should be proud of to have you as for your champion. And I think this was the right call to have Joe hold this title, obviously, because we feel like it might be his last world title run anyways.
Yeah, that's probably it. Yeah.
You know what? I was watching to your point, Adam. I watched a little bit of the scrum, and I loved when he was talking about, because one guy was like, asked him like, "Hey, when you're doing commentary and wearing the poncho, you ever see yourself, coming back and being in the spot you are today?" And he was like, "Absolutely," because I took the trip off and I didn't come back. And he's like, some guys, they don't want to take the time off, they don't want to give up the spotlight to heal themselves. But he's like, I backed away. You got again. Must be huge the ego, right? Because the last thing people get this panicky, like, oh, they're gonna forget me. I got to keep doing it. But then you're no good if you don't heal yourself, because you're just going to get even more injured and potentially have to retire. So the fact that he said, I wasn't going to come back 70, 80%. I'm coming back. I came back at 110%, and I'm sitting here as an AEW champion right now. And I was like I love that, and the confidence and going, you know what, his process worked, and look where he is. And it's like, hey, you had to step away sometimes, but come back bigger and better, and the good things are going to happen. And it did. I thought that was perfect, and I agree, Adam. I just don't see them putting the belt on a Wardlow at this point. Not when you've got a Samoa Joe the way he is. I still think
the storyline kind of demands it, though.
There you go.
The storyline that they've made just kind of demands it. I mean, it ain't a good move. I'm not going to say it's smart, but the storyline they set up is kind of.
I just don't think that. I think the fans, if Wardlow wins it before Swerve,
it's so crazy. Wardlow is cutting the best promos that he's ever cut. He's having the most dominant run that he's ever had. He looks better than ever.
I don't know.
We're fucking bored. We're bored. We're not into it. It's crazy.
But Swerve has been putting on the best performances for the past year.
No, we're all behind Swerve, but man, this Wardlow thing, it's like shoulda, coulda, woulda. The ship has sailed. But I'm so sad because he's doing so good.
But I
feel like that's going to change, though, you guys. I honestly, since you guys haven't watched that episode of Collision, I think since they brought in that writer chick, the Emmy award-winning writer chick, you can see the difference. Like, every single promo on that episode of Collision was fire. Fire, except for Thunder Rosa, where she's like, she like brings the camera to her.
That was
and she's like,
cringe.
I'm gonna tell you a story. And then it was not a story. There was no beginning, middle, or end. That was not a story. That was just a bunch of jumbled words yelled at you into a camera. But everything else was solid. And I feel like that's what it's gonna be going forward. And I hope.
I want to give credit to Adam Cole, presumably, as well. I believe that Wardlow is doing a lot of work with Adam Cole, because it's like his promo skills are just night and day, dude. He didn't used to be able to speak for shit, and now he is rehearsed.
But I think it's your point. I think at least what they're doing with Wardlow is building him up so much that you actually think he could actually win the championship, because that makes his status and the matches even bigger, because you're like, because that's the thing that you want, right? You want to go into a match. If people are like, I'm not really sure who's going to win, that is a big thing, right? Because now if you've created doubt in the start, and it's not like it's so cut and dry. So I just think they're at least beefing him up to be a pay-per-view opponent. I don't think they're
I
going to
hope
give.
I hope they don't Lance Archer him, man. It feels like they're gonna. I mean, either gonna put the belt on him or they're gonna Lance Archer his ass.
I love him. I wish he'd do something with him. That's the size of the point. But
Well, he lost to Wardlow. So that's something, I guess.
Yeah, I know. So it's. I just don't think. I think
wrong
Swerve is
kind
going to
of
be the next
something.
champion. That's where I think it's. I think he's going to be champion before Wardlow. But Wardlow will have a good shot, though. But I think they're building him up just as a good
man.
character, and a good adversary.
I'm so excited to have this conversation once something happens now.
Right. So we'll move on to the biggest match of the night.
This is the AEW Tag Team Championship match. The pretty much Texas Tornado tag match. Anything goes between Sting and Darby Allin. Sting's last match against the executive vice presidents Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, the Young Bucks. Let me just start out by saying that video package at the beginning of Sting in the theater watching his old stuff kind of got me emotional because I grew up watching majority of that. And then obviously his son's coming out to some of his old gear, the actual like Surfer Sting, American Sting that he wore at the Great American Bash, the same gear, and then his son coming out, other son coming out in the Wolf Pack. By God, that was awesome. And Sting brought back his "Seek and Destroy" song that he had, and that he brought to All In. He brought back to his last match, and I thoroughly enjoyed this match. There were some crazy spots. Obviously, Darby Allin's leap off the ladder into some damn glass. And then, the Bucks played their role perfectly as the heels. The whole, this moment where Sting is throwing the glass and then Ric Flair is trying to protect him and they super kick Ric Flair. And then they beat up Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, which I didn't think Ricky was going to show up as the timekeeper. I thought he was just going to be there to watch, but when they introduced the timekeeper and it was Ricky Steamboat, I was like, yes, I was nostalgic for me, But yeah, no, this was a great match, and the fact that Sting went over and ended up winning the match, retaining the titles. Now, the only downside from this, I will say, is his after-match promo was cut short, and I will say one reason why. Maybe because the one match they could have cut shorter was that scramble match. If they had cut that scramble match shorter, they would have had more time for Sting's promo instead of us hearing his last words on pay-per-view saying, "Hold on, I'm getting cues, wait." But luckily
they had to have that moment where all 8 guys pointed at each other.
Yes. Luckily, though, they got great fans that videotape the whole thing. It's online. You can watch the whole post pay-per-view and his speech in the ring. And it was one of the best. It was a really cool speech. And he brought out Tony Khan. And here's the nice thing. Tony was short and sweet to the point. He said, let's give a big round of applause to Sting. And then he left the ring. Because Tony Khan literally gave Sting a platform that WWE tried to, but destroyed. And so I was very happy with the way this Sting's career ended. I mean, he did end up undefeated in AEW. Obviously, at the scrum, they're going to say they announced they have a tournament for the vacated titles now that he's retired. The best part of it was Darby during the speech said, "Hey, there's not much to say. I told you I would die in this ring. I'm still standing, but I'm going to go get some stitches at the hospital now.
I'm going to the hospital now."
Because that back was just destroyed. It bled quick. And even Sting goes, "Hey, let me know how many stitches it takes to clear you up." But yeah, no, all around this was a great match. Even the moment where the Young Buck says, "We don't love you, we hate you," as as an homage to the Ric Flair Shawn Michaels moment. Instead of saying, "I'm sorry, I love you," they go, "We're not sorry, we hate you," and they super kick him, and he stands there. But yeah, no, it was a great match. You got the final stinger, obviously, as I like to call it, but it was probably one of the better careers I've seen of a professional wrestler. So
what did you say for the finish?
I predicted Sting and Darby would retire, and then there was going to be a tournament held for the vacated titles.
I did not. I went the opposite. I was hoping that they would lose just for story factor, but I was very happy with the ending, as I usually am with most things, whether it goes the way that I think or not. But I will. The best part for me out of it, I mean, aside from the crazy jump that Darby did, was when Sting's sons came out and they were all doing the Stinger splashes, and you could just see how overeager they were, and they had so much heat going in, and they would jump a little early, but you could tell that it was just the excitement of being in the ring with their dad for his last match, but like they were gung freaking ho, and it was so awesome to watch. I was like, man, like, you guys love this. Where was his daughter? Is she not like an actual title holding champion in the Indies?
She is?
Is she not?
I thought, I can't remember. Let me look that up. I can't remember if she was.
I was like, I'm fairly sure she is a title holding champion in the Indies. I was like, where was she? Is she off defending, you know, like I was like, or maybe like they're saving it, like she could come out in AEW. That would be really cool. Be like, I wasn't involved, jaded dark angle. Either way, I would hope so. But yeah, it was a solid last match. When Darby did that spot though, the moment that he put the glass on the chairs, I knew that he was going through it. I knew it was going to be him. I knew it wasn't going to be anybody else. I was like, you're setting that up for you, aren't you? You crazy son of a bitch. And then like, oh man. But it was so good, and yeah, I was definitely happy with the way that it ended. I would have loved for like the heel story for the Bucks to be like the biggest, nastiest heel story, but it was beautiful to have Sting go out on top and undefeated. So aces all around for me.
Mr. Hargrave.
All right, so I already picked all the meat off this bone on my review on my channel, but the one thing I did not mention, one thing I did not catch when I first watched this, which is fucking hilarious, is that the EVPs came up in the Cody Vader. Did anyone notice?
I did. I called it.
Cody Vader, yeah.
Like as it was happening on the live reaction, I was like, "We're using the Cody Vader."
Yeah, the Cody Vader. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
10 stars,
Yeah.
man. 10 stars all the way if you're going to drop a Cody reference on me during this thing. I picked it up later on. I said, God damn it. Geniuses.
That's good.
You genius bastards. I love the Young Bucks. I love that they played 80s bad guys for this. They just didn't give a shit. They got in none of their shit. The Young Bucks did like nothing. They had that one tribute spot, but mostly they just bumped their asses off, got killed by everything. Other than Darby Allin hit nothing. That was the funny thing about the Darby bump is when they first show it, it doesn't even look like there's a Young Buck around. It just looks like Darby's lost his fucking
Yeah, he's just
But then they showed the replay and a Young Buck was standing there, you know, Matt Jackson, and they pull him out of the way. I'm like, oh, okay. They tried to look like there was some fucking sense to that, but
he was barely like standing on it too, because like he was just kind of like leaning over the glass.
He didn't want to accidentally break it. God, could you imagine? Yeah, that would screw the whole spot up. So he's like, don't touch that.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you guys noticed that there was a spot where Sting had the bat and he went to hit the glass, and when the Bucks moved and it didn't quite go the first time, and then he hit it again to smash it. And I was like, oh, that would have been awesome if it was. But right before that, he got a really good smack on the steps, and when the Bucks moved so fast, so that was a nice sound.
Oh yeah.
I really liked this match. I really enjoyed the match. His anthem that he came out to, when was that from?
Yeah, it has some history to it, I think. Search and Destroy. I can't remember. I looked it up during Wembley, though. I was like, why is he coming out to, like, they had all this cool music, and he's coming out to some basic Metallica. But I think that's a Sting thing.
Like, did he have that in like TNA? Was that like
I think it was a TNA thing. I think he did have it for a couple of pay-per-views in TNA. That's why it's such a big thing. But to answer Siren's question, it's actually his daughter-in-law who's doing wrestling. His daughter-in-law is at the Rhodes Academy under Dustin Rhodes. So she goes under the name Jail or something, GL or something like that.
Cool.
The Seek and Destroy is basically TNA stuff.
Sounds right.
Dope.
Yeah, well,
leave it to the TNA guy to know that.
Yeah, well,
our TNA guy.
It was a huge pop. Like there was definitely fans that loved.
They were actually singing it.
Yo, it's a superior intro. Like the Sting music in AEW is okay, but like, yeah, the Metallica's better.
Yeah, it almost it reminded me as if almost because the Undertaker's music that is so somber. It's almost like if he had came out to his
Yeah.
badass like anthem for his last one, just because
It
it's
kind of
like
let you know they were winning too, didn't it? It wasn't going to be a
Pretty
sad
well.
affair. He wasn't taking off no fucking boots. Like all the shit that me and Dusty were talking about just didn't. It wasn't that kind of party. Like things like, nah, I'm just going out on top. Forget this.
Yeah.
yeah, you know
I'm
what?
not doing none of this wrestler stuff. You guys forget it, man. I'm giving my body for this. I'm just going out on top. I'm a champ.
I'm glad. I did predict. I thought that I thought he was going to do what a lot of guys when they retire is they take the fall.
Yeah, put the
so-
over, but man, and props to the Young Bucks for not pulling any. I assume they just went with it. We're like, yeah, all right, fine, Sting, we'll just die during your last
They-
match.
Sting is one of their heroes. I imagine
Yeah.
it was probably a dream
Cool.
to get their butts whooped on
Yeah,
pay-per-view
cool.
by him, like
Well,
in his
this
last
is-
match, right?
This is interesting. Everybody hates the Bucks, right?
I
When
love
did
the Bucks.
win? When do the Bucks win? They never
This is
put
the third
themselves
pay-per-view
over.
loss in a row. This is the
Yeah,
third
right?
pay-per-view loss in a row for them.
They just keep taking the L. Like, what are they doing wrong, guys? They just lose all the time. They are totally giving to everybody. They put
Okay,
over.
but now they suck.
They put over
But now-
Private Party like during the tournament. Like this, I don't know.
But now they can't even beat Private Party, so
Yeah, right.
Well, I think
nobody's
if,
ever gonna be happy. Heartgrave.
if there
No one's
if
ever
there's a
gonna be
tournament now, I think they're going to win the tournament. They
I
like
hope
feel
they win
that.
the
But they got to
Right.
beat the BCC though, dude. You know the BCC is going to the end of that bracket.
Oh yeah.
Unless it's
Actually,
FTR.
actually, I can
Oxford
see, I can
CCC.
see it. I
FTR.
can see it. I can see it where the Nick and Matt kind of wiggle their way to the final because they're EVPs.
Yeah,
Where they're
yeah.
like, we
Yeah,
give
I would
ourselves
love
a bye all the way to the
But
final.
that final is either FTR or BCC though. I believe if it's FTR, maybe they'll finally take that win. If it's BCC, I don't know.
Mm.
I'm excited
thought-
to see.
Yeah, no, it'd be interesting to see. So I am glad, as the match went on, I was like, oh, I really hope he doesn't lose because the crowd was so into it, and I was actually
Yeah.
really happy that Stinger.
Yeah,
got
it would have been
and-
it would have been
and-
the wrong move.
and the way it's celebrated. I'm so glad it didn't happen where he actually, did did it for
Take
the
the
best,
dive.
best for business. But no, I thought that was a great way to end it. Great finale match. In a way, I thought when they cut away at the end there, that just gave content for their Instagram and for their YouTube channel. So they used that. AEW didn't
I
miss
paid
up
$50
immediately to watch. They
fucking
uploaded on there.
Nah, it wasn't the right way to end though. You could have cut that meat match. Literally, 4 guys stood in the ring and pointed at each other for
Not
a
only
minute.
that, it was a pay-per-view. I
Yeah.
paid for this. If you need to add on 5 minutes for a speech, I paid $50 for this pay-per-view.
Yeah, straight up. That's actually a really good point. That's a really
It's
good
not
point.
like
Why
it's
didn't
table time.
why didn't they just run 5 minutes more? Like who the hell
Right?
is
Like-
counting? Who gives a crap?
I was
I
so
don't
mad.
understand
I was like,
Well, we know the famous. I don't know if you guys remember. I'm sure Adam remembers for sure. Do you remember when WCW went too long, and they cut the match when it was Diamond Dallas Page?
Yeah.
It was Diamond Dallas. Yeah, it was Diamond Dallas Page. And I can't remember who else. They went like 5 minutes too long, and they cut the match like when there was like 3 or 4 minutes left in the match.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
and everyone
They put it on TV.
Yeah.
They got a huge rating when they put it on TV for free though.
oh, I
Yeah.
Oh
guess
yeah,
they
so they showed the
did.
whole match.
Yeah,
But
they did.
that's what shows what happens when you don't watch the time, and that was probably during the Kevin Nash and all those guys that ran the show, and just they weren't watching it, and all of a sudden you had at the end. People didn't realize you have a time cutoff with these pay-per-view channels, right? So they only had it to a certain time, and boom, cut, right? So, but I gave it. I think that was one of my favorite pay-per-views I've seen in a long time. I think it's probably one of the best AEW pay-per-views I've seen. I would probably give it for personally like an 8 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10 for me. I don't know. What do you guys think? What would you give it out of 10 for this one?
I would give it 7.9.
Nice.
There was some moments that could have been improved. As a fan, I can understand frustration with it as a fan. I'm like, there's some good moments. There were some good matches. There were some bad moments and some bad matches on the card. Obviously, the Sting was a big deal because it was his last match. But yeah, no, I feel like it could have been better. I don't think it did. I don't think it was better than last year's Revolution. That's the thing. Last year's Revolution for me was definitely a 9.5. This one's a 7.9. And I'm gonna stick to it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Siren?
I would have given it a 9.5. I'm pretty sure that's what I gave it during the live reaction, which, by the way, we totally hit our most views and live viewers on. We have a record of 82 live viewers at one time during our live reaction. Thank you guys out there, by the way. Thank you so much. I love you guys. You're awesome. But yeah, I gave it a 9.5. And now that I found that Adam Page is taking time off, I'm going to bump it down to an 8.5.
Mr. Hargrave.
I was so excited.
I don't know, man. Ratings are goofy. It's historic, is what it is. It's beyond rating. You don't give it a rate. This is Sting's final pay-per-view. Like, I'll go back and I'll watch this pay-per-view, which says a lot for it, right? Other than other pay-per-views, like it'd be like, oh, this is Sting's final pay-per-view. What I like about it's a really well-paced show. Like I said, you can skip that first match and the rating goes up. Skip the first match, rating already goes up to like an 8, right? So just skip the first match. If I got to put the first match in, like a 7 or 6 or something. But if it just starts off with like that Eddie Kingston, John Moxley banger, I mean, that's a great pay-per-view.
Right. Well, on that note, we are over time, but I think it was another great episode. A lot of good conversation, a good review of a really good pay-per-view for the most part. So it's great. So thanks very much, everybody. Thanks, Adam, Siren, Hargrave. It's always a pleasure to have you. And thanks for everyone who tuned in and watching in the comments. Much appreciated. And don't forget to tell your family and friends to like and subscribe. And we'll see you all next week.
Reminder, Thursday, everybody's interested. We have one of the last, one surviving member of the Von Erichs, Kevin Von Erich, will be joining us this Thursday on AEZ. It will be at 5 o'clock my time, 6 o'clock Canadian time. So make sure, so make sure you guys jump in. Make sure you guys join us for that. It's going to be a really fun interview. We're very excited about it.
Yeah, that'll be really good. Excited for that. Yeah, great. Well, we'll see you guys then. See you on Thursday, and thanks very much, and have a good week.
Bye.
Take care, guys.